Hey everybody, welcome to the Blue Chip Podcast by fans for fans. This is your host Cody Potter. How y'all doing today? It's game day, Detroit. We're going to get right into this, man. The biggest thing I think for this week is Jaden Daniels going to play, man? So if Jaden Daniels isn't going to play, I think that's kind of a mistake. I mean, everybody's got their opinion on it. You don't want him out there without your projected starting center and things like that. But Nick Allegretti hasn't been basically available but for 1-2 days in camp all year. So just to get it right out of the way, Jaden Daniels, I think he needs to play. The Detroit Lions, I mean, that's the perfect dress rehearsal game for preseason, series or two. Get him in, get him out, quick passes, just get him in rhythm, get him in game action, have guys falling at his feet. Get the offensive line, really up to it, man. Get your starting offensive line, that could be playing. Personally, I would start Matt Gultman. Personally, I'd like to see what he could do next to Brandon Coleman and Chris Paul, Sam Cosmi, and Josh Connolly Jr. Personally, that's what I would do. I think they need the reps, and I think when you have your starting quarterback out there, man, I think it makes your team play up. That's personally what I would do. I mean, Detroit's going to bring it. They're going to play the preseason like it's a regular season game. That's what they do, and that's why I think this dress rehearsal would be I think it's necessary. I think it's necessary for this team. But there's a lot that goes into it, man. I mean, there's the risk, there's injuries, but honestly, man, you in my opinion, you can't really allow, what happened last year to dictate how you're going to run this team going forward. There are some nagging injuries coming up. I mean, when you go through a hard camp, you're going to have some guys take some bumps and bruises, but to me, that's how you get in football shape. Personally, to me, I think it's I think you play them. I think you play the starters. I think you get everybody out here. Get them in shape, man. I mean, this is live action. You didn't do a joint practice this week against the Detroit Lions. I think this is the perfect time to get the starters out there to play. Jaden Daniels did, of course, get a lot of reps this week. With Marcus Mariota out, he's going to be out until the start of the regular season. But I think it would be really, really cool just to get Jaden Daniels out there, get him, like I said, a drive or two, and then I would let Callie McManus. I would let him pretty much come in with the twos. And, like I said, I mean, I'd like to see, Jaden Daniels with Stephon Diggs. I'd like to see Jaden Daniels with Terry McLaurin. I want to see, Bill out there. They said something about a little bump and bruise on the last play of camp the other day or practice and things like that. I think Bill would be ready to play. And if not, I mean, realistically, I think Henry, I think Katron Allen, I think both of those guys, I think they're roster-worthy players in the NFL. I think, if you get Henry on special teams or whatever, I think that's whatever you got to do to take it over the top. Personally, I think he could be a kick returner for this team, play a little bit on teams. I think Jaden Bradley has done enough, but I think he's in a little bit more of a crowded room. Jalen Lane has, kind of excelled this year. It started making, the catches through contact. He looked really, really good in the Miami Dolphins game. But again, we're going to step up. We're going to step up in level of competition. That's why I said this dress rehearsal game, I think, is really, really perfect. The way that Dan Campbell runs the Detroit Lions, they're going to be ready to play. And they're going to, like I said, they're going to play regular season football. Not schematically, but, just physically in the way that they play to their identity. Also, on the defensive side of the ball, I mean, there's no better test. There's no better test than going up against a team like the Detroit Lions. You got Amon-Ra St. Brown. Sam Laporta's not going to be in there, but Jamar Gibbs. I mean, we all know what Jamar Gibbs did against this team in the 2024/2025 season playoffs and things like that. I mean, we had no answer for him. And realistically, if Ben Johnson had to continue to just run it the way that he was, I think, realistically, I think the Detroit Lions probably give us the business and things like that. So again, it really just depends on, what you wanted to see from this team. Personally, like I said, I play everybody today. I try to get the defense at least to give me a good showing at some point. Nor here nor there. I don't think I'm playing them half, but as long as the Detroit Lions starters are on the field, I'm putting my defense out there, and I want to see a good drive at least at some point. Amik Robertson, Mikey Sainristil, I don't know who you're going to bring out with the starting safeties. It could be Jeremy Reeves with Nick Cross. Nick Cross is obviously going to be one of the starting safeties. He's probably the best player on the back end collectively around the whole roster. But who do you play with him? Is it Quan Martin? Is it, are you bringing out some kind of 3 safety set just to kind of throw it in there without any kind of real schematical, look to it? Is Mikey Sanders still kind of like that 3rd safety nickel guy? Is it Amik Robertson? Rasul Douglas, he's had a really good camp. I trust him to be out there and play. Trey Amos with the injuries and things like that. Again, you're not going to have a Dafe Owe. You're not going to have Caleb Chase on, I don't think. These guys are nursing some kind of, wear and tear injuries from having a rough camp. But again, as I said, man, playing a rough camp, I think it puts you in football shape. Injuries are a part of football shape. Being able to sustain through them. If it was a regular season game, I think all these guys would be available to play. It's not really a concern of mine going long term. I have no problem with them guys not playing in this week. But again, I think you got enough on offense that you want to put them out there, man. Get Jaden Daniels some reps. Get him some comfort with Terry McLaurin. Get him out there with Antonio Williams or whoever you guys are projecting to be your top 3, wide receivers and 3 receiver sets. Again, you're not going to dial it up schematically. You're not going to be doing like Hyler Reeds and things like that and, really, really scheming guys open. That's not how you're going to run this system. But, it's something that needs to be done. And I would like I said, I would play the starters. Jaden Daniels would be out there. This is going to be a short kind of episode. But again, then you're going to get to the depth in this game. Calic Manis and guys like that, man. Henry's going to get a bunch of run in this game. Katron Allen's going to get a bunch of run in this game. Ultimately, the most important thing for this game is to get out healthy. You want to see the offensive and defensive line. You want to see them starting to get some pressure and things like that. Not exotically, again, not schematically, a lot of things about, Sonny Styles not really having like the hugest impact in the game. Of course, you would really like to see him come out in the 1st, 2nd drive and really make his presence felt. The speed is there, man. Realistically, like I said, when I went back and watched Sonny Styles, man, I saw a lot of more dropping into coverage responsibility as far as shooting gap and things like that. Again, you're not dialing it up. You're just putting certain packages out there, certain looks, certain responsibilities. You're trying to put things on tape. You can coach them from that point of view. I think Sonny Styles is going to be a really good player this year collectively. I think he's going to have a really good rookie impact. I'm not taking away anything from the Miami Dolphins game. But it would be really, really cool to see on a run play where Jamar Gibbs maybe gets to the edge and Sonny Styles runs his ass down. I mean, that's the type of thing you want to kind of see maybe in this game without doing it schematically or having Sonny Styles lined up at the edge and doing things like that, things that you're going to do in the regular season when you are drawing it up schematically. So again, a lot of things you're going to want to look for take shape in this game. You want to see the cornerbacks playing good. You want to see the defensive backs, how are they kind of shaping up? How are they fitting in without Trey Amos, kind of your projected number 1 corner who has kind of missed this whole offseason as far as training camp on. In OTAs and things like that, as he recovered from, the original injury from last year, the broken fibula and things like that. You want to see how he's going to progress. You want to see how the guys behind him are going to do. Right now, there's a lot of shorter cornerbacks on this roster, so Fabian Monroe probably makes the final 53 just because you maybe put some precautionary things in there with Trey Amos going forward from week 1 on. I think Trey Amos will be available week 1, but again, being in football shape, not having all this camp, not having a true offseason, that's going to matter. So again, having the bodies behind them. How does the cornerback room look? How does the safety room look? There's a lot of competition in the linebacker, man. So again, interior defensive line, a lot of competition. Is Tim Settle ready to go for this game? You really, really hope so because Tim Settle is going to be ideally, I think he's a nose. I think he's your 1-2 gap run stopper, things like that. You're probably not going to see the amount of blitzes that you're going to see from this team in the regular season. You're definitely not going to see the exotic looks that you're going to see from this team in the regular season, but you will see shades of it in this game because, of course, ultimately you're playing schematically to your team. But again, like I said, Detroit's everything you want to see on offense against this defense, man. You want to see this defense step up. You want to see the speed on this defense collectively, mirror and match basically what the Detroit Lions are bringing at you. The kicker battle was won. You want to see Stevens step up, and you want to see him make every attempt that he takes. Ultimately, when the ones are out there, man, you want to see whether it's 1 or 2 drives, you want to see scoring drives, you want to see touchdowns. You don't want to see, driving down to the 30-yard line and getting stopped. You don't want to see them make it to the red zone and get stopped. Now you're not going to schematically draw up some kind of exotic play to, get the ball into the end zone, but you want to see these guys sustain and finish drives. That's the biggest thing for this game. You want to see the young guys take shape. Antonio Williams, Galbin, Sonny Styles, and then you want to see the 2024 class, Ben Sinnott, you want to see him take a step. Jerzon Newton is out, so there's other opportunities deeper down the roster for interior defensive linemen. Joshua Josephs, man, a fifth-round pick for this year, looking really good in camp. Can he step up and have an impact in this game? I'm sure he's going to get a lot of run with Caleb Von Chason and, Adafe Owe out, so he's probably going to get some starter reps. How does he look? Is he matched up against a Penny Sewell or something like that, and can he show some kind of burst off the edge and just show that he really does belong on this roster, and not just on this roster as a depth piece, but hey, man, he's a little further along than maybe what we thought. Maybe he doesn't have the pass rush arsenal or, plan, things like that early on. But he's athletic enough to make an impact and, get some pass rush snaps for this team. Charles Menahu, guys that you brought in. Leo Chenal, these guys are still young. You want to see the impact from these teams, from these players, in this game. Like I said, it's a dress rehearsal game. So this is people are gonna, good or bad, they're gonna take away a lot of things from this game. Can't get too high on it really either way, but like I said, you still want to see the good and the positives come away from this game from this team. So like I said, I want to keep this short. It's game day. I will break this game down tomorrow, Monday. I'll probably get back to you guys Monday night, maybe Tuesday, from my takeaways from this game and things like that. But again, it's game day for the Commanders. Noon game, Detroit Lions. You know how, like I said, the Detroit Lions, they're going to bring it. They're going to come. I'm looking to see takeaways from a lot of these young guys and a lot of guys that we've been drafting over these last 3 years and even before, man. Sam Cosmi, Quan Martin, guys that have had impacts, across this roster, whether it was 24, 25, you want to see them guys start to take the next step. Leaders like Deron Payne, Terry McLaurin, you want to see them get in and out of the game healthy, but you want to see them make their presence felt along the way. Whether it's Antonio Williams on a 10-yard out with Terry McLaurin taking the top off, the defense focuses on that. Antonio Williams gets a 10-yard out, maybe makes a play. You want to see the consistency that you've seen from him from camp. There's a lot of good takeaways to take away from this game, but again, I think Jaden Daniels needs to play. It's still not been reported on whether or not he's going to play. So again, from the Blue Chip Podcast, man, I appreciate you guys checking it out, man. Hopefully, like I said, the most important thing from this game is get out healthy, but you want to see, positive steps in the right direction leading into a Week 1 divisional game against the Philadelphia Eagles, and that's what we're going to look for from today. So everybody have a blessed Saturday. Stay safe. Spend some time with the family and things like that. But again, thank you guys for checking out and tuning into the pod. I appreciate you guys. Have a safe, blessed week. Peace.